Now for the real deal New England feel.
I went off the rails. My wife told me I would be ashamed of myself.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe's with us in the booth, and you are watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast. Anyway, you podcast, you're going to catch us. And when you're on YouTube, make sure you check out our shorts, our short reels. Give us that little subscribe, that thumbs up. That's what we're looking for. That's what we appreciate. And leave us a comment. We will read it on the show, play it on the show for all of you to hear, all the positive, nice things you say about us and Mark and all of that. So,
of course.
Make sure you're doing that. And you can reach out to us in our email and our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com, or give us a call on our heated hotline. Joe's scrolling at the bottom of the screen, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. It's a message line. Leave us a message 24/7. Anything's on the table. God, can you hear the energy, guys?
Energy.
It's good to be back from summer break. Nice to be back from the summer break.
How you doing, Mark? You look well rested and nice and color. Got a little color there. You good? Will you have to adjust your screen, or is that a little sun? Get a little vitamin D.
A little bit. I listen. I needed it.
And me, I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost because I don't like going outside, as we all know.
What did you wear? A trash bag over your head?
Back there. Yeah. So, but anyway, so hey, we're back. Got a good one in Weekly Rewind. We're going to be talking training camp notes for the Patriots and all that. So stick around there. And of course, Catone's comments. Let's see what he brings to the table. And in Yankees versus Red Sox, the trade by the time you're hearing this, the trade deadline would have come and gone. I don't think it really makes a difference, Scope. We're going to talk about that. So, hi, guys.
Hey.
All right.
Excited? Ready?
I'm ready.
I do, though, have one thing I have to say. I have a little bit of a retraction. I got to.
Oh, boy.
So, when we did we did our summer series there. We did a few shows that we put out talking about fan mail. That's what it was. Fan mail frenzy. We had questions from you out there, and we appreciated all of them. Well, one of the questions was, who makes the best gravy sauce, spaghetti sauce? And Mark and I were talking about that. And in that conversation, I discussed that nobody really makes it like our grandmother did. And, I said, my mother and sister, it's okay, and it comes close, but it isn't well. Got a little backlash on that, guys, after the show.
Well, you didn't think you were going to get backlash.
So I'm here to say that my mother's sauce and gravy is every bit as good as our grandmother's.
I'm just going to say this in defense of your mother and sister. You can't walk that back. The horse is out of the barn. You can't bring that. You can't bring it back in. What are you doing over here?
Anyway, so... Guys, want to talk training camp? Want to talk Patriots? You've been dying for this.
Oh, finally. It's here. Finally. We got a game next week.
All right. Let's do it in Weekly Rewind. Joe.
Yeah.
I'm getting it. We're going back through the week. About a Weekly Rewind.
I think it's just about being flexible. It's about being able to adapt and adjust quickly and change the schedule based on the health of the team, or maybe just trying to have a good sense of where the team is and what they need and how much meeting time and how the schedule works. We put a lot of time into the schedule to make sure that it's efficient and giving the players exactly what they need to come out here and again, continue to build a team, earn a role, and then ultimately we have to prepare to win.
That, of course, is Mike Vrabel, head coach of the New England Patriots, and they have opened up training camp, and they're now a week in, or 8 days, or 10 days, or whatever it is when we're listening, when everybody's watching this and listening to this, talking about training camp, talking about opening up, what the expectations are, and so on and so forth. Okay, Mark, let's start there. Let's start with the coaching and the organizational portion of this. You feel a little better this year than last year?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah.
because
go ahead.
Because it's a real coach now.
Yeah.
It's a real coach. It's a real expectations, real things. I mean, not that Gerard Mayo wasn't a real coach, but not a real head coach.
Yeah.
And we felt a lot better in years prior. So it seems to be going pretty good as far as pace goes, as far as organization goes, as far as the drills and moving reps and getting from one rep to the next rep and how they're putting everything out and the attention and all of those things. What are you seeing?
No, I agree with that. A perfect example, Chris, the way that they set up these training camps now, you can't put pads on and you can only have pads on and if for like maybe 3 practices, then you need a certain amount of period off before you put the pads back on. So they had, this week they had 2 days of pads. Everyone said, oh, well, they'll give him the 3rd day off and then maybe they'll go back on, Thursday, and then Friday they got almost a walkthrough scrimmage, but it's not in pads in the stadium. And Vrabel's setting the pace, Chris. He went 3 straight days with the pads. He wasn't doing that. But you know what I mean? Bang, bang, bang. You got Friday. You know what I mean? So I think he's taking full advantage of, listen, these guys need to get in pads, hit each other. We need to see what the hell's going on. Where as Mayo, Chris, I know they said last year's, camp, he worked them and all of this, but it was different, Chris. The pace was different. Right out of the gate, he's got them in pads, and he's maximizing how long he can get them in pads. You can already, you know what I mean? It's already different.
Yeah. And so, and when he talked about that too, a little bit about the pads, about contact, and this is what he was talking about with the first contact and putting the pads on.
To me, it's critical at the line of scrimmage, right? Just being able to make contact. There's going to be a stalemate. There's 2 professional players lined up across from each other who can re-engage, who can reset their feet, maybe get a little extra movement. How do we play on it? Do we stay on our feet? Can we practice like this and stay on our feet? We got a bunch of guys falling on the ground. I'd rather not see that. I just don't think that good teams end up practicing that way. And again, just the urgency in which we move around practice, that we're in and out of the huddle. The players are running on and off the field. Those are all things that I think are critical. I think that translate to the field, to the game, right? Where, you're not standing 10 yards behind the ball. You're coming from the sideline, and we're communicating the personnel, and the quarterback has to echo that. Those are the types of things right now that we're trying to build.
And so it sounds, to your point, talking about the contact, because that's what it is. I mean, when you start talking about the contact and the first contact and putting the pads on, the trenches is really what we're talking about. Although you and I want to be looking at the wide receivers, how they getting off contact, how they hand checking at the line, press, all of that stuff, what's happening at the top of the routes. All of this is important with contact. But in the trenches, it's what he's saying. It just sounds different. The whole thing is different. The whole thing sounds organized.
Yeah, and then he mentions the crispness and the quickness. If you remember last year when we had that inter-squad practice with, I think it was the Eagles, right?
Yep.
Where we were like the field that the Patriot coaches were running was lagging so far behind what the Eagles were running on the other field because of the crispness the Eagles were doing it in. Like it was just apparent the difference in the coaching. So Vrabel is bringing that to the table, right? You know what I mean?
It was like 2-1 or something like that.
That's not going to happen with Vrabel, Chris. He's already mentioned it.
No, they're setting the tone. When the Commanders come in, for joint practices this year, it'll be the Patriots setting the tone for what's happening and how that practice is going to run versus, vice versa. It was Philly last year. So like how the organization of camp is going so far. And the other thing I want to talk about a little bit is McDaniel's offense, to stay on this coaching. And tomorrow on the Pats Nation, we're going to break this down in a lot more detail. So stick around for that. But talking a little bit about McDaniels and the offense, because now, we've talked all offseason about why is McDaniels here? Is it Vrabel's guy? Was he capitulating to the owner and just bringing McDaniels in? Okay, so he's here now. Yep. And all you keep talking about is the offense, the complication of this offense. How do you think that's going? Is it too complicated, Mark?
No, Chris, listen, it's only, only, whatever, 8-9 days in, whatever they're in, right? Into this. And the defense obviously is ahead of the offense, and there's been certain periods of practice where the defense is dominated. However, May, Chris, doesn't have a pick.
Right.
Okay, which is important. Last year, doesn't have a pick. He's getting rid of the ball quickly. He's not taking negative yardage. Gee, who does that sound like? That's McDaniels' offense, right? That's what he preaches. So I think May, Chris, is picking it up, right? He's picking it up. He understands what the key features are for this offense. Listen, is it perfect? No. But the no interceptions, Chris, the fact that he's trying to learn this offense and there's no interceptions, I think it's going better than I expected, Chris. Better than expected is what I think at this point of training camp.
Yeah. And so, you heard from a couple of players talking about the offense. You heard from Rondé Stevenson. We heard from Kendrick Bourne discussing McDaniels' offense a little bit. This is what they had to say.
Love Josh. I had him my rookie year. I'm very comfortable with him. I think he's comfortable with me. He knows my strengths. He knows what I need to work on. And, he's just a great coach. I'm glad to be around him again.
It's just awesome. I have, a lot of peace with it. You know what I'm saying? Everything I went through last year with the ACL, just trying to get back, kind of being sloppy, getting out there, not having OTAs, not having training camp, and having those now, in it now, and then having Josh, it just gives me a peace of mind. So I'm playing free. I feel good.
So that was, again, Stevenson and Bourne talking about McDaniels' offense. So those are two guys that have been in the offense before. What I like,
see, Chris?
Well, see, I see. Remember when he talked to Edelman last September before he even had a job or was on his podcast, and he's talking about buckets, right? What are we putting in the bucket? We're only going to put in the bucket what they can handle, And so I think the media, everybody around there is so chomping at the bit for this, that everybody's talking about the complication of it. And you heard from Diggs talking about also getting up to speed on it, and he's trying to learn the offense. And it is complicated, okay? It is. It's especially complicated on quarterbacks and wide receivers. Very complicated. Very tough on them. But what I like is the fact it's for example, day one. They were running a lot of short check down stuff. So that's all you saw in the sessions. When they got to 11 on 11, when you get to 7 on 7s, May checking down, check down. And that's a message right away, to your point, to me, that's putting things in the bucket that he can handle. What do we see his issues were last year? He wants to turn the ball over, right, May? He wants to make things out of, try to make something out of nothing, and then you put the ball in jeopardy,
And
well,
thing, Chris,
what did they start with? They started with checkdowns.
Yep. And the other thing that does, Chris, is it limits him having to run out of the pocket, scramble, and perhaps getting, hit without being needed to get hit. Because as we saw last year, he had to, he got rattled a couple of times, concussion, this, that. So by doing what he's doing now with him, putting that in the bucket, what he's teaching him is going to also prevent that from happening, Chris.
Yeah. And it builds. See, that's what I like about this camp. You could see it building step by step by step.
Yeah.
You got a second-year quarterback, and for all purposes now a rookie again, And so what do? You have to build. You have to, take one step, put one foot in front of the other, right? And I think you're seeing it in May too. And he talked about some of the expectations, and when asked about expectations, and May discussed that. And this is what he said.
What excites me most? I like that question. I think you got guys around here that are tired of losing around here, and the guys that want to win. I think that's what excites me most. We guys want to win around here. I think the past 2 or 3 years around here, and the past year for me, I can only speak for myself, but I think there's guys around here that are tired of losing, want to win.
So those are what excites. He was asked what excites him, but those are what his expectations are to win. But to do that, you got to step by step by step, And I think the team, he seems to have a good command of the team. Yeah.
No, absolutely, Chris. He's respected. He has a command of the team, and Yeah, he's their leader, Chris. He's the leader, and they everybody believes he's going to be the franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. So it's important that he leads them in that mindset that we're tired of losing and we want to win. You know?
Yeah. I mean, and he looked, as far as what's happening on the field, you know, day one, he was 8 of 9. I mean, the numbers are the numbers. I think he's somewhere in the, not up to date numbers, but I think at one point it was something like 30 something or 40 something. And so he looks pretty sharp. He's not putting the ball in jeopardy. The receivers seem to like him. Diggs had some good things to say, and this is what Diggs had to say about him.
You want to get in, as much as you can with the quarterback as a receiver. They say, timing and all that, but it's more so just about trust. You want to be around a guy that you could trust. He's a young quarterback. I believe in him. I think he's going to have a lot of success in this league. Breathing confidence in him is very important when they're young, and, just talking through a lot of this stuff. So, yeah.
And so that seems to be the consensus from at least some of the guys that have been around. Diggs, Bourne, Stevenson. We're going to put it in this kid's lap. They like him now. I mean, he took his team, a lot was made of. He took those guys down to where they were, Carolina or whatever, to work out together.
Yeah.
And I want to get the break, but what did you make of that?
I think that was important, Chris, just for some camaraderie. And I think in that type of a setting, they could get to see him a little bit in a less formal, hey, this is training camp, there's coaches around, there's where, they could, get to know him and get familiar with him. But the important other thing, Chris, I know we're going to get the break, is with Diggs. You can already tell that he's developing that rapport with him, because in this offense, the fact that he's a young quarterback, this could go south real quick, Chris, if you've got Diggs throwing his helmet on the sidelines because he was wide open and you didn't get me the ball and because you know how Diggs can be. He did that with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
But in this offense, Chris, he's going to be, I believe, the first guy May goes to and looks to and throws him the ball. And that's going to make Diggs happy. And if Diggs is happy, that's going to make him a leader among that room and with a lot of, you know what I mean? And that's going to only help them if he's happy. And it seems like right now, the first 7-8 days of camp, he's got that rapport. May's going to him and feeding him. And that's a good thing, I think, at this point.
Yeah. And so the next question is going to be whether or not Diggs is going to actually be there for week 1 and his availability and what's the offensive line look like.
The one that's not going to be there, I think, is Hollins. I think Hollins is going to be on the pup to start the season.
We're going to talk about that coming out of the break, but this portion of Weekly Rewind was presented by the Pats Nation, Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Hey, tomorrow morning, tune in because we're going to have so much more detail of breakdown in what we're discussing now. When we come back, we're going to go into offensive line. We're going to talk about these receivers and just what Mark brought up. Stick around.
Sundays are for football, and here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone. Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. And so, Mark, piggybacking now off what you had just brought up, talking about and I have offensive line next, but we can get into wide receivers first. That's fine.
Yep, that's fine.
Talking about the room.
Yep.
All right. Because, again, you and I have been the ones harping on this in the whole offseason. You and I thought was more of a need and a necessity was at the wideout spot versus the tackle spot. And everybody thought we were crazy, of course. Well, they took Will Campbell, and we'll get to him in a minute. But talking about this wide receiver room and looking at camp so far, before I get your thoughts on that, you heard from Kendrick Bourne. Boy, he's just, you feel bad if he gets cut, but, you miss the positivity because it's a full room. I mean, they got a lot of receivers down there right now. And what's going to be the role of the receiver on this team? And he said a couple of interesting things, and this is what he had to say.
Potential. Josh, obviously I have experience with Josh, and my first year, the way we were spreading the ball around was really exciting. You can be on the bench and have a role coming in the game. Josh knows how to put it together. So there's a bigger picture that you have to look at rather than right now you maybe not getting a lot of reps, but the play that you do go in, the 3 plays, how do you make them count? because those could be plays that change the game. So just that's my advice to the whole room, as a sense, just having experience with Josh. That moment will come, and are you going to be ready or are you not?
So the reason I wanted to play that was because it's a full room, a lot of guys down there. You know, it's a mediocre room. I mean, you know, let's not sugarcoat it. This is one of the worst rooms in football still, I think.
Absolutely, positively.
You know, but for this type of offense with McDaniel, see, this is now, you and I contend that you got to have a 1. You got to have a 1 in order to win anything.
Yeah, but I know what you're going to say.
Well, you know, if you're listening to these guys, you're listening to Bourne, and you listen to some of the pundits out there, they're saying, well, not really maybe in this type of offense. You know, with McDaniel's offense, do you really need the 1, or does everybody have a role? Does everybody have a spot? You know, you get 3 or 4 catches, like Bourne said, make the most of it, but you got a role for everybody and all their skill sets. What do you make of that? Because I haven't heard, nobody's talking really about this particular point.
Okay, so that's true to a certain point, Chris, but you have to realize, that worked with McDaniels when number 12 was behind center.
Bingo.
Okay? So that was number 12. Is that going to work with Drake May? No. Drake May's going to need to be successful, Chris. He's going to need like a true number 1, right? I mean, can Diggs give you that for a year? Maybe, I don't know, but the offense worked, Chris, because of Brady, right? So, that type of philosophy worked because you had him. But really, think about it, Chris. But in 2007, when you did have that real 1 in Moss,
50 touchdowns.
Look what the offense did.
They broke records. He had 22 touchdowns. Moss broke the record. Brady had 50 at the time, was a record. I mean, you know.
Chris, I saw some crazy stat yesterday that 2007 team was in the 20s for number of possessions. The offense was in the 20s for number of possessions. For points, for touchdowns, they were 1. So think about that. You had less possessions than 3/4 of the teams in the league, but every time you had the ball, so it didn't matter. Chris, it didn't matter.
Yeah. It's like Red Sox efficiency, right?
You had to bring that up, didn't you? You had
to. But seriously, you can't discount the look. Mark's right, and what you're but look, this show is the water cooler show, right? What do we call Joe? What do you call us? Fanalists.
Fanalists. Joe calls us fanalists.
Here's why what Mark's saying is accurate and right. Okay, it isn't so well because they had number 12. They had number 12. What did that actually mean? Because they had number 12. Because number 12 would do this. He would walk up to the line. He'd survey the defense. He'd understand what he was seeing. He'd have the answers to the test. What does that mean? That means he's looking at the defense. He's seeing the coverage. He's seeing what may look like zone, but it isn't really zone. It's man, and here's why he sees it that way. So now he adjusts his protection. He adjusts the wide receivers. So those option routes in their head, he narrows it down for them. So he made the job of the receiver just a little bit easier. And now he's putting his receivers into a spot where they're going to get open. So you can have 3 throws. You can have 3 targets in a game, and your particular skill set is going to be fine for this particular offense because Brady now on the field put you in that spot based on what he saw. So unless you have a quarterback that's going to do that, and that's exactly what Mark is saying, you know, unless you have a quarterback that's going to be able to get you into that play, you're not going to be able to just have anybody out there doing this job.
And I don't know, Chris. I think he's going to take a big leap this year, May, but I don't know if May's not at that level yet. I don't think, Chris, where he's going to be able to do that and make things simpler for the receivers. And he's not going to be at that point this year, Chris.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he may get there, but just not this year, right? So
when people ask you that question out there, you could tell them that for an answer as to why.
I get what Bourne is saying.
Yeah, Bourne's hanging on, man. he's hanging by a thread. He has to have it that way, or else he's cut.
So, Chris, in that receiver room, though, who is shown? Like what are we seeing? Like, who's in the lead in the clubhouse right now?
Douglas.
And you know who else is? I mean, obviously the rookie Williams is secure, and Diggs is obviously a lock, right?
You know what's funny about Diggs?
What?
He always looks to get. What I like what May did real quick. Every practice, it seems he wants to go to Diggs first.
Yes.
Kind of like Brady used to do with LaFell. Remember they used to throw the ball to LaFell first, get him involved right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Get the ball to Diggs first, but Douglas is the guy. But go ahead.
Douglas is the guy. And the other guy, Chris, that's showing up right out of the gate is Butte.
Yes.
So Butte went from a guy, Chris, well, they're probably going to trade him. He's probably he was on the list of guys that are going to get cut. I know it's only like practice 8 or 9, but he's almost moved himself to the lock list. Like almost a lock. He's playing him and Doug. Gee, Chris,
especially that X spot.
Yeah, who liked him and Doug? Who liked them coming out of that draft, Chris, in the 6th round? Douglas and Butte, right?
Those are going to be the number 1 and 2. Watch.
Yep, you had Butte you had Douglas, and I had Butte circle.
You and I said at some point in time, those will. Now I've gone to bed with better thoughts of 1 and 2. Okay, so let me just say this. But you and I both said that these two guys would end up being the number 1 and the number 2 at some point. And that's what it's shaping up to be.
And maybe they won't be 1 and 2 because probably Diggs will be 1.
Yeah.
But they're going to be 2, 3, Chris. And we've said it right along. They're going to end up being 2 of your top receivers. And this may be the year that, you know what? That's true, Chris.
Well, what you're seeing more out of Booty now is consistency. Yeah. Before last year, you'd see in spurts. He'd get open, the ball put in his basket, he'd catch the ball, but it would be in spurts. In practice, he's been a little more consistent now. And so you're starting to see that consistency show
Chris,
up.
You know who's making a push? Is Baker. The last 2 practices in pass.
He caught 1 pass. He caught 2 passes all of a sudden. You need that to be right because, you said, well, I think Baker and Polk, Baker could be the guy. He's caught. Baker's gone. Polk's gone. Don't even bring him up. I don't even want to talk about. We don't. Screw Baker and Polk. They're out.
Yes. What did the local media guys wrote? And I won't say his name. He wrote in an article this morning, Chris, that yesterday's practice, Baker did a Randy Moss toe tap in the red zone. He compared it to Moss.
Talk about Diggs. Let's talk about something worth talking about. Okay, because I want to talk about the offensive line. I want to cut too much into Catone's comments. I want to talk about the offensive line. We have to.
We have to
talk about Diggs. And so we heard from Diggs about some of his recovery. This is what he had to talk about.
No, I didn't think about the timeline too much. I kind of just took it day by day, considering everybody's injury is different. Like, I was around a bunch of guys who kind of hurt their ACL down with Dr. Reef, and, we kind of walked the same walk, but we all had different, different paces, could do different things at different times. Everybody kind of said I came back pretty fast, but it was a different journey for me. I kind of approached it like I wanted to get back as fast as I could, and I just was super serious about my rehab process. I love football. If you really love football, you put in that time in, and, getting injured is kind of part of the game, but getting back to playing football just, it makes me extremely happy.
We got the boat video, Joe. We got the boat video, Joe. Joe.
Ooh, yeah, he put a lot of serious effort into his rehab down on that boat. No, but seriously, so when you listen to him, he's excited. He's excited about his recovery. Listen, I said that I don't think he's going to be ready for the start of the camp or the season. That he won't be there week 1, and I was consistently saying that over and over. Now, there's nothing holding him back. He's full participant. There's no limitations on him right now.
Right now, let's see what happens after the first preseason game where he gets cracked a few times, or the scrimmage against the Commanders. Let's see, Chris, if we hear, Diggs kind of limped off the field a little bit. He's got some knee soreness and blah, blah, blah.
Setback.
Like, you don't know. A setback, right? We'll see. Yeah. The guy, Chris, that's going to be on the PUP list is Hollins.
I agree with that.
Yet. So Hollins, Chris, I think will be ready probably by week 4, but he's going to open up a spot for them to give an extra receiver probably a look because he's probably not going to start the season active.
Well, we're dying for it to be Chisholm, so let's hope it is.
Oh, Chris, the thing with Chisholm, somebody was saying, no, what happened to him? He was did so good in the minicamps. But listen, he's not getting any run right now with the 1s and 2s. He's not up there with May. But when Dobbs is on the field, Chris, and no one's mentioning this, he's blowing by the second team. In the red zone, Chris, blowing by people in the red zone.
Yeah.
Okay? So, anyone who thinks, Chisholm fell off, he didn't fall off, Chris. Everybody's just talking about May and Diggs and the guys that are out there with May.
Yeah.
But when you talk about who's going to make the roster, because you're probably going to keep maybe 6 of them, he's doing his job, Chris.
I agree.
Nobody can stay with him, Chris.
I agree. Absolutely. And so, it's not flying under our radar.
Vrabel's watching that.
Absolutely. And McDaniels is watching that too.
Of course he is.
I want to get to the offensive line. I know we got to get to Catone's comments, but we got to talk about the O-line a little bit.
We have to.
Heard from Phil Perry and Tom Curran of Boston Sports there in New England, whatever the hell that station is, NBC Sports Boston, and talking about Campbell specifically. This is what they had to say this week.
In his first rep in a run blocking period, get thrown to the ground by Keon White, one-on-one. When you see him in the pass protection period, going up against Keon White, long arms, powerful man, that Keon White, and he gets into Will Campbell's chest and then uses a bull jerk or a bull pull kind of move to get him off balance and get him falling forward to get back into the backfield easily. That's not a great start to practice, especially, Tom, since Mike Vrabel said, what was he looking for? When you asked him the question,
upright.
He wants guys on their feet, and then his number 1 pick this year ends up on the ground twice in about 5 minutes.
Film to 11-on-11. He did do a nice job stonewalling at the line of scrimmage against some really talented players, Keon White included, and the big fella Milton Williams. Tell me what you saw there.
Yeah, I agree with you. He rebounded nicely, after what I would call a welcome to the NFL moment or two early in the practice. When it comes to running the football and run blocking for Will Campbell, that clearly comes pretty naturally to him. I saw him on multiple occasions wash down Milton Williams along the line of scrimmage to open up a big hole. One in particular, Ramondre Stevenson ran right off Will Campbell's keister into the end zone for about a 15-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, and that's what I want to talk about.
That sounds like a guard.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it, guys?
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to play that, because
today, as of this taping,
and that was early on in camp. That was the first day.
Chris, Chason blew by him twice with an outside-inside move. Twice went right by him, by him.
And we're recording on Wednesday, and so they're gonna have more camp.
And Chason, Chris, has been the surprise at camp. Him and Keon White, but Chason's even going past White, like he's just flying. Nobody can handle him, Chris.
Here's what I want to talk about. And tomorrow on the Pats Nation, we're going to talk a lot more detail about the offensive line, and I want to talk about Wilson as well. We're going to run out of time, so we're not going to be able to.
And Chris, are we going to, and I do want to talk about, too, when we talk tomorrow about the defense a little bit. I want to talk about Milton Williams, because they've brought him up, and he may end up
There's concerns.
Yes, there's major concerns with him. Major.
Yeah. And tomorrow we're going to talk a lot about the defense, but with the offensive line and particularly Campbell. So in the first day, you heard what happened. Okay. On one-on-ones, Keon White went by him. Yeah. Just manhandled him. Got into him, got into his body, but then when we got into 11-on-11, we got into team, Campbell looked a lot better. He held his own. Look, in run blocking, I think this guy could be an all-pro guard. Fine. Okay? And if you're okay with that, with the 4th pick in the draft, that you drafted a guard that can be a Pro Bowler, okay. But doesn't that then leave us with the same problem we had coming into the friggin' draft, Mark? No receiver and no left tackle?
No left tackle. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Now, he's going to play left tackle. That's it.
He has to. You don't have a choice.
So he's had some good moments, too. He's had some good moments, but he's had more bad than good so far.
No,
is it the arm length? Is it the width, the wingspan, and all this other stuff? Or is it the fact that he's just a rookie trying to make his way at this point? I don't know.
Well, it's a little too early to tell. We're going to see.
It is a little too early. I don't want to give the kid. I don't want to down the kid immediately.
No, I don't want to either. I want to see him, Chris, in game action. I want to see him against the Commanders and see what he looks like.
Right. But I don't feel good right now.
No, Nope.
I feel like your and my prediction of what the hell was going to end up happening here over time. Now, if he can play tackle and he can hold his own. Now, listen, you can protect him. McDaniels will protect him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you saw it with Matt Light. When Matt Light came in, the same kind of thing happened. You would usually see, when he had to go against Freeney and guys like that, guess who? You'd see a tight end over there chipping. And so you're going to see that this year. You're going to see him protected by his OC. You're going to see him protected, hopefully, by his quarterback in pass pro and his But
well, Chris,
pick in the draft, man.
But Chris, I also think that's why McDaniels has put, like you said, situational football. He had a session where he was just working on checkdowns and getting the ball out quickly, because those checkdowns, Chris, when you don't have enough time because your O-line can't stand up, you're going to need to master that, because that's going to have to happen quite a bit if you've got a struggling offensive line.
Right. So we'll see what happens. And by the way, Vrabel get into his ass a little bit too. He was a little winded. One of the fans picked this up, though he was a little winded after a play, was Campbell. And Vrabel said something to the effect of, hey, aren't you from LSU? This is like spring for you. What the hell are you winded for? So let's stick around. Tomorrow on the Pat Station, we'll break this down a lot more. But Weekly Rewind was presented by Corso Law Group, corsolawgroup.com. Hey, we come back. We've missed you, Mark. We've missed you. Catone's Comments is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to corsolawgroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help.
Time for Catone's Comments!
I have a couple of things to do. A couple of things I want to go through today with you. So, first of all, okay. I talked about cookouts. Remember, I talked about the barbecues, having a barbecue. It's 4th of July. I talked about all that before the break. Well, guess what? It happened. Yeah, I had one. It happened. It had my worst nightmare. But listen to me. When you hear this story, you're going to roll. Listen, first of all, people come to these barbecues. They don't want to leave. They don't leave. It's endless. It's just endless. It's endless. All right? Now, you get these barbecues. Who's gluten? Who's this? Who's that? I don't know. I got chicken. I got sausage. I got hamburgers. I got turkey burgers. I got hot dogs. I got some non-beef hot dog. I got about 11, 12 different things. I don't know what I got going on. I don't even know what I got going on. I don't know. The temperature's ridiculous. I don't know what I got going on. It was, they were doing fireworks. I don't know what I got going on. I said to my wife, I said, listen, it's supposed to be a chance of thunderstorms. We got to kind of speed this up. I said, we got to get the food on. Yeah, but they're having grilled pizza first. Listen, I don't care what they're having. We got to speed this up. They're taking bites. They're taking bites like my kids did when they were 2 years old, learning how to eat solid foods. Talk about bites. It took an hour to eat a piece of pizza. Right out loud. So I'm waiting. I'm like, okay, when are we gonna light this grill? Like I do want to get to bed at some point before tomorrow morning. Like really. So now, my wife says to me, okay, yeah, it's time. You could probably start to throw the stuff on the grill. Okay, yeah. I got the stuff. I'm looking to the west. There's this cloud. It was the darkest cloud I ever seen. Yep. Here they come. Here come the thunderstorms. Okay. I'm rushing now to try to cook this stuff. I'm rushing. I got everything. I'm rushing. All right. Okay. I feel a drop. I said, yep, here we go. You need a drop. I said, okay. I said, we got an umbrella. I need an umbrella. I got a big Gulf umbrella. Well, let me tell you something. It opens up the rain. You want to talk about, it wasn't rain. It was a monsoon. A monsoon. That's what hit. Not a thunderstorm, a monsoon. Then the wind must have been 50-mile-an-hour winds. The umbrella, boop, the umbrella's gone. The umbrella flew. It was like Mary Poppins. I should have held on to the umbrella. Crying out loud. But umbrella's gone. Everything's gone. I'm soaked. I got the rain's dripping through my underwear. I'm completely soaked. The grill's soaked. Now I'm trying to get the food in the house. It's waterlogged. You want to talk about disgusting. Now I get everything in. I said, hey, it is what it is. I'm emptying the water out of dishes with food on. I said, listen, nobody wants to listen to me. I said, here you go. I told her, she said, where you going? I said, I had to take, my shoes were full of water. It was unbelievable. Now I got to go change up. I'm soaked. Get clothes, whatever, change all my clothes. And now I said, you know what? I don't care what time it is. I went to the bourbon. I opened up a bottle of bourbon. I stopped pouring. What do I care? And they don't want to. Now, they still don't want to leave. They don't want to leave. What's for dessert? What are we going to have? They're playing on their phones. Listen, what are you playing? Tic-tac-toe. Go home. It rained. Go. There's no fireworks. They canceled them. Go home. Please. That was my experience for the 4th of July. That was my experience. Listen, that was my experience. You think it's funny. You don't know. I've never been so wet in all my life. And there's lightning. I'm trying to protect myself from the lightning.
So, okay, Joe, you want this one, or do you want me to
Go for it.
Okay. I don't even know did I hit the right picture button? Okay. So, here's what I got to say to you. All right. And I've been saying it to you.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, how many times do we need to tell you the same thing?
So what?
You have to do things.
I didn't go to a store.
Yeah, well, you have to do things on purpose in order to get people to hate you and not want to be around you. Okay? Like me. Like I do. You know? To get people to stay away. So, okay, so let me see. So you're there, the joint, and then they want to say. So you had to be doing something to make the fighting, to make these people want to stay around even through the rain. No?
Yeah, I guess. That's my wife. Not me.
These people must listen to the show, and they're like, "Oh, we got to stay. We got to see the fireworks right here."
We're going to stick it right up his ass because we know he doesn't want us here to begin with. Let me ask you, did anybody bring anything? Because I know that's a big thing too for you, is people bring stuff.
Yeah, they did.
What was the best thing you got? Well, who brought what?
I don't know what they brought. People were coughing, hacking, sneezing. You think I was eating the German-fested food?
When I have stuff here, like cookouts and stuff, I don't even eat anything that goes out, I don't even eat it anymore. Like once it leaves, like in other words, there's got to be a certain amount of that stuff. Like you'll never see me eating at like one of my parties. Well, one, it's tough to do that, right? I mean, it's hard for you to eat.
In all honesty, I don't eat either. When we got people over and I'm cooking on the grill or something, I don't eat.
But like once it like goes to the public, there's got to be some of that put aside for later.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you have do you have that? Do you do that? You put aside for later?
Absolutely.
And then ask the question, wait a minute, which one is this? Is this the like later on when you're eating the leftovers? You ask the question, which one is this, the one that
you have a lot of problems?
Yeah.
You say, is this the good one or not?
You have a lot of problems. Who says?
I mean, unless it's family, but like people are gross.
Listen, speaking of that,
you're telling me I got problems. You're telling me how all these filthy, disgusting people stay to your house. You don't want them there. Let
me ask you a question. You're talking about me.
You invited them.
My wife did. Why is it every time you go on a plane, you come back, you get COVID, sick, passed out in bed?
That's a story for another day.
That's next week. That's next week.
Here's Mark, listen, I don't know how much, Joe, how much can we help him? I mean, he's not taking the advice. I think it's time to bring your wife on the show.
Stop helping him.
I honestly think it's time for her to come on. I think we need an intervention.
There you go.
Like for her though, not your, we know that, you're a lost cause. What we need to have is her on the show, Joe, so we can have an intervention and be like, okay, listen, we brought you here because we know what it's like. We understand what you've been dealing with for the past.
Are you kidding me?
30 years with this clown. And it's hard enough. We get it. It's difficult for you, but you got to stop allowing people to come around him. I mean, what'd you have for food, by the way?
I had everything. Everything you could imagine. I had everything. We made great.
Oh, you had the bourbon. That's all that matters.
Listen,
really.
I'm going to tell you what makes this even a funnier story. Because of the rain.
Well, so no, wait a minute. So when it rained, everybody came in the house.
Yeah. But wait a minute.
But was it already in and out of the house, or was it just
a little bit? Yeah, it was already in and out. But listen, now
you're pissed because everybody's tracking, right?
Yeah, but that's not even the best part of it. The best part of this story is, listen to this.
Yeah.
Because it was thunder, lightning. Well, now they all of a sudden canceled the fireworks.
Yeah.
Well, they rescheduled them for another night.
It came back, Joe.
It came back.
That was last night, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, Joe. What do you think I was doing last night, Joe?
They came back. Came back on a Tuesday night or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm working. It was like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. Yeah,
what do these people do? Do they have anything to do? What? Don't these people have anything to do?
Listen, I was going to go in the bathroom and play Russian roulette with myself.
So wait a minute. They came back just to watch fireworks?
What?
What, do you have like a good vantage point?
Oh, they're right there. Yeah, from my backyard.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Over
from my backyard over the water, you can see everything. Yeah.
So they were just using you for the venue.
View. Yeah.
You should have got a big bass drum while the fireworks were going. Hey, boom, boom, boom! Get the freak out of my house! Get out!
What is wrong? What is wrong with you?
I got a lot.
Listen, I couldn't even use that as an excuse that it's a work night because my wife hears me, Joe, with him on the phone 1 o'clock my time talking about that guy can't catch the ball. It's 1 o'clock.
But that's work.
So she knows I'm not going to go to sleep.
But that is work.
Yeah, that's work. Yeah, that is work. It is.
We're working for you people out there.
You're right.
We're working for all these pearls of wisdom for you.
You're right. You're right.
That's unacceptable. For all those people out there that came back to Mark's house on a Tuesday night in friggin' the end of July, get a life. Go somewhere else. Will you please? You should have had me over there. I would have been kicking everybody out of the place.
Oh,
Forget it. But good stuff, Mark. Well, listen, like we said, I mean, this one, I don't know, Joe. I don't put this on him. I don't put this one on him. What's he going to do,
What's he going to do? Well, he's going to bring back that story.
It wasn't twice. It wasn't once. It happened. I get hit twice because of the cancellation.
If you became a nudist, you wouldn't have this problem.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Boy.
Think about it.
Joe, what's wrong with him?
We
need to end this segment on that note.
And with that, Catone's comment was presented by the Pats Nation Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Hey, tune in tomorrow morning. We are going to have the full breakdown, all the details, all the pearls, all of our fanalist comments for you. So make sure you're tuning into that. But we come back, going to talk baseball, Yankees versus Red Sox. No flipping.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone. Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. All right, so the trade deadline, again, hasn't come yet. It's for us, it's Wednesday. But for you, it's Saturday, and the trade deadline is come and gone. We need to discuss the Yankees and the Red Sox. Let's do it. God, I love that. So, okay, Mark, let's start with the Yanks.
Yep.
Now, again, Wednesday, so they could do something else at the deadline tomorrow, but they bring a third baseman in. And then the latest thing I saw was talking about Slater, the right fielder, but these are not.
No,
I like the ad at third.
Yeah, because good defensive player.
Tell me what you think.
They're not going to give up major prospects, Chris, because I'm going to be honest with you. If you're sitting there and you're Steinbrenner and Cashman, based on what you're seeing, is this a World Championship team? Probably not this year.
God, you sound like Breslow and Kennedy. You sound like those guys.
Well, no, but Chris, let's be realistic. I'm not going to give up one of my top prospects.
No.
The Red Sox are different, Chris. The Red Sox have a logjam of prospects at certain positions, so they have no excuse. The Yankees don't have the plethora of prospects that the Red Sox have.
Well, because they put their balls out there. That's why every damn year the Yankees do.
They do. So the Red Sox, we'll get to them in a minute. That's a totally different story. So we can't compare them to what the Yankees are doing. And now with the Judge injury, Chris, you got to gauge, okay, is he going to be back in 10 days? Is this something where he's going to have to be out 3-4 weeks if it doesn't get better? Like, without Judge, you're not going anywhere. So I think you got to gauge that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's such an odd year.
It is.
It really is. Like I'm watching this baseball season and I'm looking at the American League and I'm looking at Yankees, obviously, particularly, and also the Red Sox. And I think just the minute you think you have a grasp of, okay, I think I understand what we have here. You know, I get we have in Cleveland, and I think I understand now what we have in Detroit. And now you get a switch up. Now you get a lot of things and what appears to be a perfect storm. And I'm going to bring this up with the Red Sox as well. So, because it looks like it's such a bad league right now. Yeah. To argue against what you're saying is to say, okay, well, look, you know, Kansas City lost their ace with the shoulder injury, right? Now you got Cleveland with that Class A having those gambling issues or whatever's going on over there, and so you feel like, well, maybe this is the perfect time to buy, to get a Ryan on this team, or to get you know a pitcher like that, or right, because the league sucks. But are the Yankees taking a look at things and saying, like you say, different than the Red Sox? We'll talk about them in a second. But are the Yankees looking at things saying, well, yeah, but we're not looking at the American League. We're looking over the American League, and we're looking over at the NL. And our goal is to beat one of them in the World Series. And are we going to be able to do that? I don't know.
Listen,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Chris, the Dodgers have like 7 pitchers on injured reserve right now. If they get those guys back for the playoffs, nobody's beating
over.
them. It's over. I don't know if they'll get them back, but if they get them back, they just keep rolling out. They'll just keep rolling out guys out of the bullpen, starters. Like they just, people forget, well, the Dodgers, they don't look too good. That they're still in first place, Chris, and they got all those injuries. So yeah, you won't beat the National League.
Yeah.
You know.
And so that, you know, from a Yankees perspective, I guess I understand. Because, I mean, if they're healthy, if the Yankees are healthy, completely healthy, you know, you didn't lose the pitching you lost.
Yeah, you got Cole and all those guys. Yeah, now you make a move.
Judge and
now you make a move.
Well, because now you're making tweaks to the roster.
Yeah. Yep.
Now versus the friggin' Red Sox. Now, I mean, listen, okay, so. And this is a little bit of old news, but we haven't talked about it, so I want to talk about it. And you had Jeff Passan of ESPN, I believe he is, right?
Yes.
Talking about the Red Sox and saying that at this moment, the Red Sox, this is what he reported last week, at this moment, the Red Sox are not inclined to engage in any large-scale deadline moves, which you saw now. Chief Craig Breslow has said the team wants to add after Devers, and while it would be a surprise to no one if it did, Boston is an organization that deeply values operating efficiently, Mark, and in a market, this is not an efficient market, basically, is what he's saying. Efficient's cheap, yeah? Or did I miss something?
Cheap. Yeah, that's being cheap. That's positively efficient. Yeah, you want to operate efficiently, not overspend, spend within our means efficiently, and see what we can do.
Mark.
If we, that's what that means.
It's unconscionable. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting what this team has become, what this ownership is. Okay, and I'm not a Red Sox fan, but I'm a fan of the region, and I feel for you Red Sox fans out there, because this is bullshit, Mark. What this team is doing to people, to the fan base. I talk about that perfect storm of what's going on in the American League. You're not the Yankees.
Yeah, Chris. If you make a couple of moves, you might be able to steal something.
Right. And for them, making the playoffs is important. For them, making a World Series run, maybe not winning it, but making that run is important. For the Yankees, it's different. You got to win it. But for the Red Sox, I mean, this is nonsense what's going on here. And he talked about the spending. This is what he had to say.
The Red Sox, they're trying to build something that is sustainable, and that's a really hard thing to do. And it's even harder when you have budgetary constraints that are put in place by ownership. You're going to look at the model, and the analytical model is going to sit there and tell you this is a bad trade. And you have to have the conviction to look at this, this objective thing that you use to help you guide a lot of your decisions, and say, you know what, screw you, we're not listening to you at this point because winning now is too important. And I can see that. As a fan, that's almost what you hope your team does, right? That they are so committed to winning that they say, forget now or forget the future. Let's focus on now. But I don't see this front office operating that way.
Imagine mentioning budgetary constraints with the Red Sox. What has happened? I mean, are you kidding me? Really? They have enough resources, Chris. They could go get anybody they want, make any deal they want, pay whoever they want, and this ownership, it just won't do it. They want to be. They're a big market team who's playing like a small market team, and they want to create the Tampa Bay Rays model where, hey, we compete every year. Some years we'll make the playoffs. We may not compete for the World Series, but hey, we're selling out the stadium. We're selling merchandise. I went to the Yankee game, Chris. That Yankee game, and listen, place obviously it was Red Sox Yankees, so it's going to be sold out. But listen, everybody's buying merch, they're drinking, they're at the concession stands, they're making money, Chris.
Yeah, and I'm never one of these people to say boycott a team or do any of that. So I'm not going to say that. But I like you. At least have the eggs. Don't bullshit the people. Don't talk to me. Don't trade Devers and tell me we're going to be better off now. Yes, have they won games? Are they winning games without Devers? I thought it was you and I both thought it was the right move. It was the right thing to do to get rid of this guy. Okay, the hair went across his ass, and you and I said in April that he's going to end up getting moved. Everybody thought we were nuts when we said it, and it happened because they weren't coming back from that issue. And Devers is a jerk. I get it, but now you're a jerk. Because you come out and you trade him and say, hey, we're in better position now for it. And you know what? You are in a better position for it now. So show that. Show us that then. Show us that you're in a better position. Make a friggin' move. Do something. But it's the same crap. And Cora's the perfect guy for this, isn't he? You knew they weren't going to do anything. When Cora said on the off day, which was the trade deadline day, which was Thursday, Cora says he's going to be at a birthday party enjoying his family, instead of in the bill. I mean, this is what this franchise is now, Mark.
It is. It really is. It really, really is. Unfortunately. And
so for you, Paul,
hey, Chris, if anything, they'll make a couple of minor moves, and that's all they'll do. They may bring in a couple of relievers, minor moves, nobody big, and see where they go. That's all.
They brought the catcher in, and they,
Yep.
So
So we'll see.
So for you poor bastard Red Sox fans, I feel for you out there because they're never going to do anything. This is the same rhetoric every single year at the same time. So just. That's it. Don't go to the games anymore. But we got to go. Corso and Catone was presented by the Pats Nation. Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. As I said, we're going to have a breakdown of camp in detail. Offense, we're going to talk defense, so make sure you're sticking around for that. And come back next weekend, noon Eastern. We're going to talk more Patriots camp, Yankees, Red Sox, Catone's comments, see if he has a cookout in between now and then. Anything you bring to the table, we will be ready. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Now find Corso and Catone on AM 790, The Score, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you podcast. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch the chaos every Saturday at noon.